In today's episode, I have 5 beautiful fall DIYs to share with you all using Dollar Tree craft supplies because I love staying on a crafter's budget while also making beautiful things. Thank you all so much for being here today, popping in and saying hello. I appreciate every single one of you, my crafting friends. All right, now let's get crafting. For this project, we're going to be using a large 14-inch wired wreath form, this bag of apples that I picked up from Amazon, some fabric, this burlap ribbon, and then a whole bunch of green florals from the DT. Now I'm going to take that ribbon and I'm going to just coil it around that wreath form because this is going to allow me an easier way to be able to put on all of these picks that I'm taking apart to glue it onto something to have a nice sturdy base. You don't have to do this, but this is just another technique I thought that I would try and share with all of you, and I actually really liked it a lot. So I went ahead and just tucked underneath all of these wispy, which is always the first one I like to put down. I like to put down the most flowy, wispy looking greenery pick first because it really makes it look more natural to have those out at the very back of the wreath. And then I keep building out from there, going into the smallest things. So now I'm putting on, I think it was called fall grass. I think that's what this pick is called. I loved it because the majority of it is green and it goes into yellow at the very end. It's not an actual flower head that you could just like pop off. It's one big greenery pick. I loved it. So I wanted to make sure I got that on here too. And then now I'm going to come in with these berries. And I used the leaves as well because I always like to try to use all of the pick. And I put down the leaves and I glued them onto the ribbon to conceal the ribbon a little bit more. And now I'm coming in with the berries and I'm just tucking those and laying them as flat as I can because these are a little bit tricky to work with sometimes. So just lay them down as flat as you can. And now I'm going to come in with another green pick. This one definitely has a more fall look to it. And I just love the colors contrast with the yellow and then the really bright, not fall green leaves. So now I'm going to take my apples. And at this point, I love how much we've built up all the greenery that it's ready for the apples. I'm going to go ahead and take a skewer stick and poke that into the apple because these have a sleek surface and over time they're just going to pop right off. So I went ahead and put a skewer stick in it and hot glued those all together, and then I'm going to add more hot glue to the stick and then put it into the wreath. This is going to allow it to really bond and adhere to all of the stuff on the wreath and the ribbon so that these apples don't pop off and fall. And then the very last thing, I decided to do a black and white gingham bow, and I think this turned out so beautiful for the fall. I cannot wait to hang it up. For this craft, we're going to be using one of these galvanized buckets and one of these oven cover trays, burner tray covers. I always call them different things and I always get it wrong. But we're going to bring them together with some E6000 and some hot glue. I always like to clean up the bottom if there's ever E6000 that kind of goops out when you press it down. But make sure your bucket is centered in the middle of the oven burner tray cover. And then once you've got that all aligned and adhered, I took some painter's tape and I'm just going to cover up the twine because I don't want paint to get on the twine part of this craft. I went ahead and got everything spray painted black that was metal, and now I'm revealing that the twine was nice and covered so you can still have that beautiful twine on there. And now I'm going to go ahead and take some of this gingham black and white fabric, cut off a strip, and I'm going to start by doing just a simple knot around it so I can get the tails part of my bow. And I wanted the fabric to wrap around the base part of this cute little tray we're making. And now I'm just going to add a fabric bow that I put together by just folding in the sides and putting a little bit of extra fabric in the middle. And now it's ready to be displayed. This DIY is super simple to recreate. We're going to use some rub-ons from the Dollar Tree, a foam square, a white bucket, and then these really darling florals for the fall. All of it's from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to start by removing the sticker from the bottom of the bucket, and then we're going to take this foam square from the Dollar Tree and we're going to cut it down to the size that we need. I like to use my scissors like this. This is the easiest way I always find to cut it. I know some of you say that you use large knives from your kitchen to be able to cut it, and that works too. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in my E6000 and hot glue, but before I go any further, I wanted to give a real quick thank you to Cynthia, who sent me this amazing product where you slip it on and you twist it to allow you to get all of every drop from your E6000. I love this tool. I'm going to link it down below over on Amazon because this thing is so cool. And Cynthia, thank you so much for sending this to me. It was so thoughtful of you. I'm always trying to get every drop and every penny of my craft supplies. So thank you, thank you. Now I went ahead and cut free all of my little stems off of these wheat florals because I wanted to make sure that I maximized the volume. And I like to think highest in the middle, lowest on the ends. So I just keep playing with it until I like the way it looks, and I give it a little haircut on parts that I don't like. And now I'm coming in with some hot glue and some of this moss, and I'm just tucking that down in there to really give it a beautiful fall look. And these buckets work so well with the rub-ons from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to cut out Farm Sweet Farm on it, and I'm going to just simply rub those on and then remove the covering on it once it's nice and stuck to the bucket. Give it a nice rub, and then I'm going to take my sanding block and just rough it up a little. This DIY is so much fun to make, and I hope you all give it a try for the fall season. Start by picking up a metal round tin plate from your thrift stores. I got this one for 50 cents because I always get stuff that's half off at the thrift stores. Go ahead and remove the sticker from it and take it outside and spray paint it a beautiful pumpkin orange. Once that's dried and set aside, we're going to take some drop cloth. I just pick mine up from the local home improvement stores. I get a huge pack of it and it's super affordable. I think mine's like $9. My drop cloth lasts forever and I use it all the time here in my craft room, and it just has that beautiful farmhouse look to it. So go ahead and cut some little snips and then rip the fabric down to create some thinner strips. Now I'm going to be using this little toothbrush. Friends, this is one of my oldest craft tools. I think this thing is like 15, 16 years old. It's from a dentist appointment I took my oldest son to when he was a little boy. It's a kid's toothbrush. I love using it for speckling on paint because I wanted to get that nutmeg look that you see on a pie, a pumpkin pie, when you see it come out of the oven. So I went ahead and sprinkled some of that on, and now I'm going to start gluing on some of those strips that we ripped up earlier from the drop cloth. Cut it down to size, add a line of glue, and then just tap that right into place. We are now working on the top crust for our pie, and you can honestly do whatever pattern you want, but I loved this crisscross pattern on the top of my pumpkin pie design here. And now this is where it really comes to life. With a thicker strip of fabric, I think mine was probably about 1.5 inches to 2 inches thick, I'm gonna lay some glue down, and then as I'm putting on that fabric, I'm gonna pinch it like you would pie crust around the pie tin. And you're just gonna go all the way around. And when you get to a point where you run out of fabric, because the strip's not long enough, you just simply put down more glue, line it up, and keep going. So I'm gonna go all the way around the whole pie tin, and it is so adorable at this point. But then I thought, you know what? I wanna be able to hang this up on my pantry door in my kitchen. And I remembered that the Dollar Tree right now has out these darling rolling pin signs. I ran and got it out of my craft closet that I was holding on to, and I put this right on the front of the sign with some E6000 and some hot glue, so it's really bound on there well. Hello, pumpkin. Isn't that so darling? Now at this point I'm going to take my crocodile, punch a couple of holes at the top so I can hang it up on my pantry door. And I'm just going to simply take one of these beaded wreaths that they have at the Dollar Tree. I cut it in half so that I can get it smaller for my sign. I'm going to bring it around, twist that wire in place, and then to really just clean up that look, I'm going to bring it back around to the front, glue down that pie crust we did earlier with the drop cloth. And at this point, we could stop here, but Heidi loves a good bow. I have never met a bow that I did not like. So I doubled up a couple different bows. I'm adding on a cute little button in the middle, and it's ready for my kitchen. This DIY has actually been a pretty popular one. I've seen a lot of friends working with these pumpkins, but I wanted to show a more neutral look and something that I like in my own home. I wanted to make these for my house, so I thought I would share them. So I'm going to take one of these velvet pumpkins. I'm popping out the little faux stem that's in it and off the fabric that was wrapped around it. And then I'm going to take some of this white nautical rope, and we are going to simply just put it all over the pumpkin. Now, a trick with this nautical rope, I like to squeeze a little bit of glue and then I twist it tight, and that's going to keep it from unfraying later on or while you're working with it, and it's just going to keep it looking nice and tight and how it's supposed to be looking. And then at the bottom of the pumpkin you're going to put a big dollop of glue, spiral it around, and continue on. Now the trick to make this look really high end is you want to keep pressing the rope together so there are no seams and there are no little spots where you can see the inside of that pumpkin that we're using as the form to wrap our rope around. That truly is the trick, whether or not it looks store-bought or not. And then once you get around to the top, you're going to notice that the smaller pumpkin needs about 1.5 of the nautical ropes, and the larger pumpkin is going to need about 2 full ropes. And then once I've got it all the way spiraled around the top, and this texture just looks so pretty, you could do this with so many different things, so many different types of ribbons and ropes. But when you get to the very top, you're going to want to start coiling it in really tight, continuing to push that rope down. And then as you get into the center, you're going to go ahead and cut it. Now you could put back the original stem, but I thought it would be really pretty to bring in some of these little log pieces that they have in their floral section at the Dollar Tree. And then you're just going to make sure you get that nice and snug in there, add in your hot glue, and then pop it back in. And the two of these side by side are so cute. Total cost to make these were about $5, maybe even a little bit less. And I just love how these both turned out. I truly do hope that you get a chance to be in your craft rooms today or sometime soon to try out some of these ideas. Leave a comment down below to let me know which one you like and which one you think you might try. And until the next episode, bye friends.